comes courtesy of our friends over at The View. When I say our friends over at The View, I mean the low IQ idiots who are on panel at The View. And yes, you are a complete stupid idiot. My God, she is so stupid. This is the same lady who thinks everything is racist. Everything and everyone is racist, except and the Holocaust. Genius.
Shapiro has built a strong reputation. By frequently challenging the viewpoints expressed on The View, he doesn't merely critique the show. He consistently breaks down what he sees as its underlying flaws. According to Shapiro, the program features a panel of outspoken personalities who often prioritize trending narratives over factual discussions. For him, it's more than just low-quality television. He views it as a showcase of collective thinking disguised as casual conversation. Shapiro describes the show as a platform where disconnected celebrity opinions are shared with confidence, yet frequently lack the depth to withstand even mild scrutiny.
Lifelong ambition to actually be a guest on The View. They'll never have me on, of course, because it would go horribly.
Shapiro's own words, the show has become a safe space for people who don't want their ideas challenged. And if there's one thing Ben Shapiro is known for, it's seeking out that challenge. He argues that while the hosts speak with conviction, the discussions often lack depth and thorough research. Shapiro has made no secret of his desire to join the panel. He's tweeted, podcasted, and spoken publicly about wanting the opportunity to engage directly, aiming to counter what he sees as surface-level arguments with pointed, fact-based responses. Aware of the dynamic he'd be stepping into, Shapiro has said it clearly, "Let me on The View, and I'll have a field day."
Cost isn't about race. No. It's not about race. No, it's about
a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man.
No man is practically eager for the invite, and let's be honest, that moment would likely break the internet. A live debate between Shapiro and the host would be nothing short of headline-worthy chaos. And he knows it. That's exactly why the invite never comes. The View has hosted every type of guest, except the one person who could truly challenge their talking points in real time. But let's face it, even Ben Shapiro, who has faced some of the wildest debates online and in media, might not have been fully ready for the kind of raw unpredictability delivered by one of the show's most outspoken voices, Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi isn't just another panelist, she's a Hollywood icon, an EGOT winner, and one of daytime TV's most powerful personalities. But that doesn't always mean her commentary is on point, far from it.
It's not about ideal race. But these are two white groups of people.
Not only is that the worst clip in the history of The View, that is the worst clip in the history of television. Like, all of television.
And Ben Shapiro, he's made his position crystal clear. He's not one to stay silent when conversations go off course. Fame and legacy don't influence him when facts are misrepresented. Shapiro steps in. Over time, he's clashed with Whoopi Goldberg more than once. But there was one moment that left him visibly stunned. During a particular episode, Whoopi made a highly controversial claim, dismissing a major historical issue in a way many viewed as deeply misinformed. Shapiro, known for his strong stance on historical accuracy, especially when it comes to Jewish history, didn't take it lightly. He quickly took to social media, criticizing her comments as both historically inaccurate and morally irresponsible. He emphasized the danger of public figures reshaping facts to suit simplified narratives, especially on television, where millions are watching and forming opinions. You can't rewrite the past just because it doesn't fit your worldview, Shapiro said, and in his view, that's exactly what happened.
Goldberg is obnoxious and stupid beyond all measure. The Holocaust was not about race. Ask the Nazis. The entire Holocaust was about race. All of it. Which is why they didn't just pick on Jews who observed Judaism. They picked on anyone who had quote-unquote Jewish blood. The entire thing was about...
She attempted to simplify a deeply complex issue, possibly to make it more relatable or to fit within modern talking points. But in doing so, the core message was lost, and Ben Shapiro wasn't about to let that pass unnoticed. He pointed out the contradiction if race is central to so many modern debates. How can one suddenly claim it had no role in a significant moment in history? According to Shapiro, that's not just inconsistent, it's deeply irresponsible. He argued that one can't claim to champion social issues, yet misrepresent one of its most delicate historical issues. Taking it further, Shapiro stated that this kind of perspective reflects a broader trend in mainstream media where, in the pursuit of sounding progressive, discussions often drift away from factual accuracy. In his words, they end up distorting the truth.
And in humanity to man. Nope. It is about a genocidal attempt to exterminate the Jews, which has a thousands-of-year-old history. And yes, it was rooted in—
Ben Shapiro accused Whoopi Goldberg of reshaping history to match a narrative that may sound progressive on the surface, but doesn't hold up under closer examination, and this wasn't. A quiet critique. Shapiro took his message everywhere, from podcast episodes to social media posts and live discussions on the Daily Wire. He made it clear just how concerning he found that moment. His audience responded quickly with online reactions, hashtags, and debates flooding various platforms. The internet became divided. Some stood in support of Whoopi, while others called for accountability over what they saw as a misleading statement made on national television. What intensified the situation even further was the lack of an immediate clarification from The View. It wasn't until public pressure escalated that anyone from the show addressed the controversy.
Yes, you are a complete stupid idiot. My God, she is so stupid. This is the same lady who thinks everything is racist. Everything and everyone is racist, except and the Holocaust. Genius.
Ben Shapiro continued to emphasize his core concern. Shows like The View, in his opinion, are careless with facts and too willing to spread misinformation without accountability. For him, that's the real issue. These platforms aren't designed for honesty but rather to reinforce shared viewpoints, and when someone like Whoopi makes a serious error, Shapiro notes that no one at the table pushes back. That's exactly why he wants a seat, not simply to argue but to hold the hosts accountable in real time, in front of a global audience. What especially frustrates Shapiro is that this isn't some minor detail or obscure argument. It concerns one of the most significant and tragic events in world history. This isn't theoretical, metaphorical, or a forgotten footnote. It's a well-documented chapter that shaped global politics, human rights, and modern society.
Comparing the US, Israel, Hamas, and the Taliban as all terrorist organizations. And she has maybe way more knowledge and experience in the very complicated Middle Eastern relations. But I did find that being on a foreign committee and comparing the country to a known terror, those are organized terrorist communities, that, not Israel, but Hamas and—
So when Whoopi Goldberg chose to describe it merely as man's inhumanity to man, Ben Shapiro saw that as a dangerous oversimplification. In his view, statements like that don't just blur the facts, they risk erasing the very reason this part of history must never be forgotten. Shapiro's outrage, he insists, isn't performative, it's both personal and rooted in principle. For him, it's not just about heritage, it's about truth. How can a nationally televised program allow something so careless, so deeply insensitive, to be aired without any immediate correction? According to Shapiro, this isn't an issue of political correctness, it's about factual clarity. It's about acknowledging reality for what it is. Ignoring or minimizing the racial component in such a tragic historical chapter, he believes, crosses the line into revisionism.
And that depends on who you talk to.
Right. Well, I mean, that's how they're recognized as terrorist organizations.
But it does depend on who you talk to.
Well, they're recognized in this country.
Depends on who you talk to. Whoopi, always available to sign in to both compare Israel and the United States to terrorist organizations and also compare terrorist organizations to apparently not terrorist organizations. Like, Hamas is not a terrorist organization?
Let's see what Ben has to say on this.
Oh, man. It is amazing because Whoopi is sort of seen on this show as sort of the wise old sage. And I have to say, you need better sage.
And Ben Shapiro's frustration is unmistakable. He asks bluntly, who, in their right mind, could describe the extermination of 6 million Jews as anything less than a racially motivated atrocity? It's not a rhetorical question, it's a sharp criticism of what he sees as a growing disregard for historical truth on programs like The View. But Shapiro isn't singling out Whoopi Goldberg for one controversial moment, he's pointing to a larger trend. According to him, Whoopi isn't alone. Panelists like Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and even rotating guest hosts have each made statements that drew public backlash. Shapiro argues that this isn't an occasional misstep, it's a recurring flaw. In his words, The View has become a space where emotional narratives often override factual clarity. And just when the controversy seemed to peak, Whoopi made another headline-grabbing remark while discussing international politics. She appeared to draw a troubling comparison between the United States and terror groups like Hamas. and the Taliban setting off a wave of intense reaction across social media.
Interesting that a lot of the English language has to be rethought. Blackmailing is negative, black sheep, negative. I can think of a few others if I had the time, but those words are kind of like embedded in our psyches and maybe need to be changed. Why is a black sheep a bad thing and a white sheep is a good thing? Why? They're just sheep.
Well, it's not the words. It's not the words, it's the way we think.
And Shapiro, it wasn't just the words, it was the thinking behind them. He appeared visibly stunned on camera, shaking his head at what he called an absurd and dangerous claim. How, he asked, could someone with such a massive platform say something so reckless in front of millions of viewers? To Shapiro, it wasn't just disrespectful, it was harmful. This wasn't a tweet or offhand remark. It was a statement that was recorded, edited, and broadcast nationwide, and that, he says, is the real problem. When misinformation is given a platform and no one steps in to correct it, it begins to feel normal. And once it's normalized, it spreads. Shapiro made it clear he won't stay silent. He questioned how Whoopi could make such a bold and unfounded statement with complete confidence. That, he said, was what truly shocked people, not just the content, but the delivery. Even more troubling to him was the lack of real pushback. A few awkward looks or soft objections weren't enough. In Shapiro's view, that wasn't accountability, it was damage control.
You're right, Joy. Probably they started saying black sheep versus white sheep, not because of the commonality of the sheep, but because of black people in like rural Europe. Nailed it. Yeah, it's about what? African-American sheep. This is so stupid. It's about black male, like black people male in the
Interview 12, but Ben Shapiro sees it as something more than just a talk show. He calls it a well-produced echo chamber. He's compared The View to a circus, but not the entertaining kind. To him, it's like watching performers who believe they're presenting serious intellectual commentary. He once joked that the hosts stride across the stage speaking on justice and equality, as if they're experts. While often delivering takes so off the mark, it's surprising they made it to air. And naturally, moments like these light up trending tabs across every social platform, while Shapiro continues to critique from the sidelines. Audiences are still refreshing their feeds, waiting for that long-rumored showdown to finally happen. Until then, Ben has more than enough material to keep his commentary sharp and frequent. What moment from The View left you shaking your head? Was it one of Whoopi's controversial monologues, Joy Behar's awkward attempts at allyship, or one of those chaotic panel discussions where logic seems to disappear? Let us know in the comments. We're reading everyone. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more sharp takes and deep dives just like this. We've got plenty more on the way. See you next time.